most part, but that's happening already, point one. And point two, you legalize the drugs, you take the profit out of the drugs. You take the profit out of the drugs, nobody's shooting and killing it. Isn't that big a deal? It's an old plant. Speaking of marijuana, for example. You put it out in the backyard. If that's what you want to do, you grow it like you grow tobacco. God knows all by itself marijuana doesn't cause as much trouble as tobacco does, and tobacco is subsidized by our government. It kills people. It kills, 50, 60,000 people a year in the form of lung cancer and associated diseases. Maybe more than that. I don't know what the numbers are currently on how many people die from cancer, from tobacco-related deaths in this country. Very few people are dying from marijuana. Don't doubt that it happens, but it's very, very rare. It's a fraction of the number of people who die from tobacco, which is subsidized. Vincente Fox is correct. If you want to end the war on drugs, legalize the drugs and take the exorbitant profits out. Once the profits disappear, nobody's going to care. And the people that are concerned say, oh my God, everybody's going to be doing. No, they're not. Everyone wasn't doing drugs back before the drugs were declared to be illegal. In fact, there was a time when they used to sell Coca-Cola in this country, and the principal ingredient in Coca-Cola was coca, meaning cocaine. That's what it started out with. The world did not fall, just collapse. The society didn't end because someone was selling cocaine. The truth of the matter is we can handle it. Not all of us, but it's like alcohol. It's like tobacco. Will there be casualties? Yes. But it's better to have people, in the final analysis, if people are dumb enough to kill themselves with drugs, it's better that they die from this form of suicide than we criminalize the drugs and we wind up with people being shot and killed, not because they're stupid, but because they got in the wrong place in many instances. Or they were seduced by the incredible profits of drugs to go out there and participate in these battles for the right to sell the illegal product. In any case, Vincente Fox is correct. You want to get rid of the war on drugs, you want to end it, you want to win it, legalize. There was another point, and I remember this from back Time Magazine, and it was a Time Magazine article. Oh, this goes back perhaps into the late 60s. It would be the 70s anyway. I don't recall clearly. But there was an article in Time Magazine that I remember reading, and the article was talking about drug use, and which was growing at the time, and people said, oh my gosh, what's going to happen here? And they were concerned. They talked about drug dealers bringing drugs into Florida. And they're bringing it in on speedboats. And they were bringing it in such enormous volume that they didn't even count the money. They'd bring the drugs in, and someone would give them a bale of $100 bills, a box, a bushel basket, whatever. They didn't even count the $100 bills. They just weighed them. There was that much money. They didn't even worry about was there, if you're short or high. How many pounds of $100 bills you got? That's how much. That's what we got to have for these drugs. It was evidence of the incredible profits. It was evidence of drugs coming into this country. And Time Magazine expressed its concern. Said, oh my God, if these people are making so much money, they're going to be able to elect their own congressmen and senators. And then what will they do to our drug laws? And the answer is nothing. If anything, they would strengthen the drug laws. The people that are generating profits for the drug dealers are the hardcore, right-wing, ultra-conservative Republicans who sit up there and say, we got to get tough on crime. The truth of the matter is they are never going to get tough enough to stop drugs. We started this story. Well, let me finish this first point. The first point is that the drug dealers, they're not going to vote to legalize drugs. They would never do that. It is precisely because drugs are illegal that they make such exorbitant profits. If they ever legalize drugs, they're out of business. They know that. Had another point here. It skipped my mind. so I guess I'll move on. But this whole drug war, you want to end it, legalize the drugs. Here's the other point that crossed my mind. Any of you who think the drug war could possibly work, all right? How many of you think the war on drugs, it can work? How many of you believe that? If you do, you be dumb. And I'll tell you why, and I'll give you evidence, and you can try to refute this evidence when you get a chance. Figure out how to get around this one. You can go into most of the prisons in this country and find drugs in the prisons. How is that possible? We have 4 high walls surrounding every prison. They're covered with barbed wire, all right, razor wire. There are only a couple of doors going into the prison. The doors are closely monitored. They are controlled. Entry and exit from the prisons are closely monitored and controlled. And yet, with only a couple of doors in the whole prison, you take a big prison, and it might only have, 40 or 50 feet of doorways, counting the horizontal distance on the doors. Add them all together, there might be 40 or 50 feet of doors on the entire prison. All right? The width of the doors. 40, 50 feet, might be more than that. With guards and dogs and razor wire and high wires, they still can't keep the drugs from getting into the prisons. If you can't keep drugs from getting into a prison, how are you going to keep drugs from getting into your hometown or the block on which you live? You don't have any high walls. You don't have guards and dogs and razor wire and the rest of that protecting your home, your community. You think you can stop drugs from coming in? It isn't going to happen, and yet that's the fundamental idea behind the alleged war on drugs. Sorry about all this coughing. I should have taken a couple of drops of the oil from Cyprus. Should have taken a couple of drops of that this morning, and I neglected to do so, and apparently my allergies are acting up to the pollen in the air. But in any case, if you can't stop the drugs from getting into a prison, there is no way the war on drugs can stop drugs from getting into a town, a city, a state, a nation. Can't be done. The war on drugs can't work. That's my point. And as long as there are drugs in prisons, it is evidence. The war on drugs cannot work. If you can't do it, don't try. Why waste your money? Why waste your time trying to do that which is impossible? The answer really is that the people that are pushing for the war on drugs, they're the ones that are maintaining the profitability of drugs. They're the ones that are ultimately making drugs so profitable that they can go anywhere on the face of the earth. You can find them anywhere you want to go. You think you can't find them in the White House? You think you can't find them in Congress? Where do you think you can go where you can't find drugs? There are human beings around, you're going to find some drugs. And then part of the reason for that is because we live in a society that is so, in some regards, unnatural. We have tall buildings and computers, and it all seems like a wonderful place in some regards. But the truth of the matter is that you and I are not really built to inhabit the society that we've created. The society becomes increasingly artificial, increasingly unnatural, increasingly intolerable. And that's why a lot of people are doing drugs. It goes to the popularity of alcohol, it goes to the popularity of tobacco, it goes to the popularity of cocaine and marijuana and heroin and crack. People can't deal with the incredible stresses that are being placed on them by this society. Now, some people can. I don't mean all people can't deal, but a lot of people can't. And it's at least part of the reason why a lot of people succumb to the temptation of drugs. It's an escape. It's an escape from an environment that is very difficult for some people to comprehend. Here's part of that environment. Here's something from the New York Times. A racy show with teenagers steps back from a boundary. MTV executives have a new hit drama on their hands featuring the sexual and drug-fueled exploits of misfit teenagers. They also have something else, a fear that coming episodes of the show may break the law. In recent days, executives at the cable channel became concerned that some scenes from the provocative new show Skins may violate federal child pornography statutes. I'm reading from the New York Times. You know, we call this program American Values. How is it that we have reached a point where people could begin to produce a TV drama and get well into production before finally somebody said, "You don't think we're actually doing kiddie pornography here, do you?" This is the kind of example of a world, a nation that has lost its way. It's lost its values. We don't even know kiddie porn when we see it anymore. And right now, I guarantee people are working on getting laws passed in Washington to allow this program and programs like it. How did we get to this point? We're going to explore that more when we return in a few moments. We're going to take a couple commercial announcements, and we will be back shortly. I'm Alfred Addis. This is American Values. Please stay tuned.
Can your family survive a food shortage lasting 2 weeks, 6 months, or maybe longer? Sound far-fetched? We live in precarious times. There is an ever-increasing possibility of food shortages caused by terrorist attacks, natural disasters, truck strikes, or monetary collapse. You owe it to yourself and family to prepare, and you can by getting a supply of our long-storing, freeze-dried, and dehydrated foods. Our foods are time-tested to store for decades, require a minimum of time and energy to prepare while maintaining superior nutritional value, freshness, and taste. Our foods were designed for the space program and are in constant use today by our own nuclear submarine service. Contact the Freeze Dry Guy today at freezedryguy@landset.com. That's freezedryguy@landset.com or call 530-265-8333. 530-265-8333. And let them know you heard it on American Voice Radio.
Using your cell phone for business or staying in touch with family, your cell phone use is increasing. Use the Wave Shield, developed for ultimate cellular protection. The Wave Shield blocks, reduces, and deflects up to 97% of the radiation from entering the soft tissue of your ear. The Wave Shield, made of a patented mesh material, is proven and tested to block radiation without affecting reception. Order your Wave Shield today for only $19.95.
Did he just say $19.95? Hey, times are tough, so American Voice Radio Network is cutting the price to $17.95. That's right, $17.95 plus mailing. You can protect yourself, family, and friends from cell phone danger to your inner ear. $17.95 at theamericanvoice.com. That's the superstore at theamericanvoice.com. $17.95 plus mailing. Order now. Since the beginning of the United States, kings have sought it. Nations have fought for it. It has been traded, borrowed, purchased, and stolen. There is a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. That's 1-800-375-4188. 4188. Listen to Financial Survival with your host, Melody Cedarstrom, on American Voice Radio Network and Shortwave Radio. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call 1-800-375-4188. That's 1-800-375-4188. For the very best in gold and silver trading, call toll-free 1-800-375-4188. That's 1-800-375-4188. Call now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Alfred Addis. This is American Values. We were talking about MTV has a program called Skins that deals with the racy adventures of high school kids, teenagers. And all of a sudden somebody said, "Oh my gosh, you don't think we're not doing kiddie porn, are we?" And the answer is quite possibly yes. And this was intended for primetime viewing. What's going to happen to this society? Can this be sustained? Is this just a situation where, well, if somebody wants to cut kiddie porn on primetime TV, let them do it. What the heck? I'm not going to watch it. What? Freedom of expression, there is something wrong here. And it's wrong not just with the people that are watching the program or the people that are producing the program. It's wrong with the advertisers. And that's what's driving this. They understand there's a niche out here for people who want to see teenagers fornicating around. Little kids, essentially. They want to see it. And as long as that's true, advertisers will say, we could make money. We could make more money if we could get out there and advertise. We could put our ads in front of these people and they will buy our products. And then we can get rich. And it is in the pursuit of more money, more money, more money. Same thing with the drugs. The addictive ingredient is the money. Some people are addicted to porn. I understand that. Some people are addicted to kiddie porn. But what really drives it, we try to put this back and show that the problem is just the drug addict. And the drug dealers, these evil people who want to deal drugs, and these evil people want to do drugs. No, it's about the money. It's the same thing with most of the pornography. The biggest money-making segment of the entire internet is pornography. That's where most people put their money on the internet, is into pornography. Well, I won't say most people, but the biggest percentage of money in terms of if you divide the internet up into different classifications of products and services provided, pornography is the most lucrative. That's what drives it. That's why there is so much pornography on the program. The pornography is there precisely because it's lucrative. That's what it's all about. It's not what it's all about, but it is the primary driving force is the money. Here's another article along the same lines. This is from onenewsnow.com. Pennsylvania abortion doctor, it's an article from the Associated Press. Pennsylvania abortion doctor charged with 8 counts of murder. Philadelphia, a Philadelphia abortion doctor has been charged with 8 counts of murder in the deaths of a woman patient and 7 babies who prosecutors say were born alive and then killed with scissors. The charges against Dr. Kermit Gosnell follow a long grand jury investigation. District Attorney Seth Williams says state regulators ignored complaints and failed to visit the clinic since 1993. All right, there's been no inspection of this abortion clinic since 1993. What are we talking about, 17 years or thereabouts? Williams said women were subject to squalid and barbaric conditions at Gosnell's Women's Medical Society, which was shut down last year. Dr. Gosnell has been named in at least 10 malpractice suits, including one over the death of a woman who died of sepsis and a perforated uterus. The doctor who gave abortions to minorities, immigrants, and poor women in a House of Horrors clinic was charged with 8 counts of murder in the deaths of a patient and 7 babies. Again, we already said that. Born alive and then killed with scissors. Dr. Kermit Gosnell, 69, made millions of dollars over 30 years performing as many illegal late-term abortions as he could. Prosecutors said state regulators ignored complaints about him and failed to inspect his clinic since 1993, but no charges were warranted against them given the time limits in existing law. 9 of Gosnell's employees were also charged. The story goes on. Here's the point. Here's a couple of points here. Dr. Kermit Gosnell, it said he made millions of dollars over 30 years, and he's a black man. Guests. I've seen, what have I done here? Melody is on the line. Sorry, I've got a message coming in here. I've seen one report that suggests that the rate of abortion in the black community is 50% of the children conceived are aborted by their mothers. And here's a black abortion doctor who's killing these black babies. I mean, there is something. Why? More money, more money. More money. Not good to be. Melody.
Alfred.
I'm sorry. Got the commercial ended. Have you been here since we ended the commercial?
Uh-huh.
I didn't.
Well,
sorry?
I was a minute or two late. I was just finishing up a client, and so I was a minute or two late. So
all right. Well, I didn't have an announcement you were here, and I just started running and gunning, Melody.
Well, you know what?
Talking about what's happening to American values and so on and so forth.
Tell you what, that's such an important what you're discussing. I mean, I'm here in Pennsylvania, and the sad part about that is there's probably doctors like that all across the country. This guy just got caught.
Yeah, I understand.
Yep.
I understand.
It's rampant, and you were talking about television, and to me it all started with MTV. I mean, it was soft pornography from the beginning, and it's just it spiraled out of control. And yesterday on the program, I was talking about watching some of these previews on these programs. It just amazes me. Just totally amazes me, the content of them. And, of course, they're all geared to the younger generation. And
do you ever watch any of the programs, the cartoon programs? Like, not just The Simpsons, which I've liked over the years, to tell you the truth, but they've got American Dad, and they've got another one on there.
They're horrible.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Family Man, I think, is one.
Yeah,
or something.
Family Man, something like that. Family Guy. Family Guy is
Family
the name
Guy,
of it. Yeah, I think that's the name of it. I mean, this stuff has been watched by children, and I guarantee that stuff is absolutely, there are elements of soft pornography in most of those programs.
Yep.
And they may only be there for a moment, and then they're gone, but they're there. And children are being exposed to this stuff, I guarantee, from age 5 on up. They're seeing it. They're there, and the parents are watching these cartoons. How is this going to end? How can it end well? No one cares. No one looks, because it's just a question. Hey, I can make a fast buck.
Yep.
It's trouble coming our way, and it won't work out well over the long term. But in the short term, people they are seduced.
Absolutely. And I mean, I mean, we certainly don't see pornography, soft porn promoting gold, but
Nope.
you absolutely see the misinformation, the misguided information given to clients or prospective buyers of gold, to which encourages them to buy perhaps the wrong type, but perhaps at a lot higher price. And so what we
Speech
try
on.
to do here at Discount Gold and
Hearing
Silver is we
devices.
take all the
Button.
high
Block
value
rotation.
gold
Switch
and
button.
silver,
Page 1 of
and
3.
we just
Selected.
present the
Screen
facts,
recording.